Welcome, everybody, once again to another episode of B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxel with my co-host, Mr. Matthew Balzer. Dog Days of Summer is still here. Hopefully, you guys are all enjoying our team-by-team preview that we've launched on our Facebook page at B&B Hockey Talk. Remember to like, comment, and share. Talk about your favorite team. Let us know if we've projected the potential starting lineups there. Or is there a young rookie that might make your team that maybe we've missed or overlooked or haven't commented on? It's been fun though, Matt. We're just over the halfway point, I think, of it. We hit the New York Rangers today. Of course, you can also follow us on YouTube, which is just a show. But all of our highlights and stuff are on our Facebook page. Matt, so let's start off with the heated topic of the week. The IIHF comes out and suspends Evgeny Kuznetsov for 4 years due to his white stuff problem.
So apparently he tested positive for cocaine at this past year's World Championships.
So the apparent pictures were true then, obviously.
Yeah. So back in May, the video came out of him in a room with couple white lines of powder on one of the tables where he said as soon as he saw what was going on, he phoned a friend and got out of there right away. And he insisted that was after their Stanley Cup win in Vegas. But now with this coming out, you got to wonder when exactly that video was actually from. So the IHF deems cocaine as a performance enhancing drug. So that's why, which is weird. In the NHL, it's under a drug abuse. So he won't be suspended as of right now by the NHL, but he has checked in voluntarily to the education and counseling program that the NHL and NHLPA provides. So hopefully he gets the help that he needs. And of course, like Kuznetsov, he's a heck of a hockey player. Like when the Caps won the Stanley Cup, he was arguably next to Ovechkin, the best player in the playoffs that year. And I'm hoping he gets the help he needs because it just sucks when you see stuff come out like that.
He scored the big goal against Pittsburgh, of course, that year. And I think the NHL is aware of it probably before the news even came out, it sounds like, which is good if he is, in fact, seeking help, trying to get away from that lifestyle. You see other former players get into trouble that way. We saw today a news story that Donald Brashear was arrested or charged with possession. I think that was something he was battling his whole career. Do you think this is more widespread around the league, or is it just only a few cases, kind of like the Jared Stolls of the world?
Yeah, it is interesting because it has been popping up a little bit more often. And I know it wasn't the same drug, but we also had the Mike Richards incident as well. I think from what I've read up, if you do a drug test for cocaine, I think it leaves the body after 2 to 4 days or something like that. So it does leave the body pretty quick. Don't quote me for that because I could be totally wrong. But
are you speaking from experience? No, I'm kidding.
No. It is I believe it is a drug that leaves the body pretty quickly. So depending on when the drug tests are done, it could be tough to catch, it is something that could be creeping up, and it is something that you never know that some players could be battling with addiction or something along those lines. It is.
Well, look at Robin Leonard as an example, right? Yeah. He's definitely battling addiction, and I know alcohol is more, I think, widespread in the league than the harder drugs, but the few players that have a lot of problems with it, it's even like former Canuck goalie, NHL goalie Corey Hirsch, his story about alcohol and depression and stuff. I guarantee you, there's a few players on every team that go through this kind of stuff. So hopefully they can get the help they need through the NHL and through other professional organizations. So. Tampa Bay continues to add to their roster, signing free agent Pat Maroon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, the terms, and then what a great way, by the way, for the big rig to potentially repeat as a Stanley Cup champion. But why don't you catch us up on all the other signings as well in the last week?
Yeah, so just before you thought Tampa Bay couldn't get any better this season, they went out and signed Patrick Maroon to a 1-year, $900K deal. Of course, he was a big part of the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup last year, including scoring that double OT winner in the semifinals against the Dallas Stars. Just a perfect fit. Brings a Stanley Cup winning experience to the Lightning, and it's shocking that he'll probably most likely start off on the fourth line with the Lightning, which is crazy. But yeah, just a great addition for Tampa Bay. A couple other signings. One today, the New York Islanders locked up Anthony Beauvillier to a 2-year deal with a $2.1 million cap hit. He'll most likely be in the top 6, and he does have potential to have a breakout season. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit the 20-goal mark and around 40 to 50 points. Last year, he had 18 goals and 28 points. A couple other signings. Dennis Malgin re-signed with the Florida Panthers to a 1-year, $750K deal. He had 7 goals, 16 points in 50 games. He could be on the outs on the roster to start the season with Brett Connolly and potentially Owen Tippett making the team to start this season. And also Gabriel Bourque signed a 1-year, 2-way deal with the Winnipeg Jets. He played 55 games with the Colorado Avalanche, scoring 2 goals and 8 points, and also had a goal in 12 playoff games. More of a depth move that he can go up and down through the minors, just because the Jets, they did lose a lot of guys in free agency, so they need some veterans on cheap deals that they can plug into the lineup. Also,
I was really surprised, by the way, when we were doing both New York clubs rosters. The Islanders, looking at their roster, it's full of veterans.
Yeah.
With loads of prospects that could potentially jump up and make the squad. I counted at least 5, if not 6 players that could make the squad. I think 1 or 2 of them will, but at what cost and what veteran will be left off that roster? And then the Rangers, of course, had no veterans and all rookies almost, it felt like. And it was like, I think I plugged in 3 or 4 rookies in the top 3 lines alone. And it's just amazed to me. It shocked me almost what Barry Trotz, as an example, has to work with this year as the Islanders are. I hate to say it, but maybe you guys hear it first here. I'm going to say the Islanders are going to squeak into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I still think they might have. I still think they'll regress, but I still think they'll be battling for a wild card spot. I think. I don't think they'll get the repeat goaltending performance like from Leonard and Greiss from last year. Of course, Leonard's gone and Varlamov's in. But even if they're still decent goaltending, I still think there's enough that they can compete for an NHL spot. And they do have with some of their younger guys like Josh Hosang. He requires waivers to be sent down to the AHL this year, so they will definitely have to make some room for him if they want him on the roster, and that could come at the expense of some of those veterans that they have on the roster right now. Mm-hmm. Heading on to some other news and signings. Some professional tryouts. Andrew McDonald got a tryout with the Calgary Flames. He was bought out by the Philadelphia Flyers this offseason. And Scotty Upshall got a tryout with the Dallas Stars. He missed all of last season with a knee injury. So I'm hoping he can make it back into the NHL and or at least prove to the NHL teams around the league that he still has game.
I think the last 2 times he had a PTO, before he signed with the club that he was having the PTO with, he signed with St. Louis. So maybe we'll see Scotty Upshall as a depth player for the St. Louis Blues this year.
Yeah,
and of course Andrew McDonald is in because the Valimaki injury. Calgary obviously looking for some depth, veteran presence there.
Mm-hmm. And then going into European signings, the big one was Jesse Puljujärvi signed a 1-year deal with Kärpät in Finland, but it comes with an NHL opt-out up to December 1st. So he's still looking for the Oilers to trade him. Apparently, the Oilers are asking at least for a prospect that has top 9 potential and a draft pick, or a player with term left on his deal that can make a difference right away. in an offensive role. So unless if the Oilers' demands fall a little bit, there is interest around the leagues. There's but I'm not sure if any team wants to buck up. But yeah, there's still like he says he wants to be
Weird
traded.
situation.
Yeah, because like I saw like some potential stuff, like maybe there might be a fit in Carolina, or I even saw somebody mention like maybe with the New Jersey Devils with Pavel Zacha, who still hasn't signed yet and is a restricted free agent. With all the center depth now that they have with Hughes, Keisher, and Zajac down the middle, that if he continues to play center, he's going to be on the fourth line there with and he's also a player that's had his ups and downs so far in his career. So, but yeah, those are some potential maybe trade partners going up. And the other European signing was Oscar Lindberg. Signed a 1-year deal in Switzerland. He split last season between Vegas and Ottawa. He had 9 goals, 20 points in 55 games. I thought he was still, and he's still on the younger side. So I thought there would be a team that could sign him on a cheap deal as a third, fourth line player.
But that's also coming from a guy that thought Jake Gardner would be signed by now.
Well, yeah, well, he should.
I think that is absolute surprise, I think, for most people. Jake Gardner, Ben Hutton, and there's a few others that are still out there as defensemen that are available. And I almost think some people are waiting just to see, depth-wise. I think once these RFAs all sign up and stuff, I think you'll start seeing some of those players fall into place as well.
And it's still insane that nobody signed. It's just another week is coming on with no movement. It just boggles my mind.
It's like 20 RFAs sitting there that are all waiting for the big cash.
Oh,
and I mean, the recent rumor was the Islanders were going to try to get Patrick Laine out of Winnipeg and maybe sign him to an offer sheet. I don't see Laine fitting into the Islanders system or team, or I'm just not sure like if they would be willing to give up the draft picks for him, but hey.
And they still have a decent amount of cap space, because now with Beauvillier they got everybody signed and they still got a little over $4.6 million. So if they can move one of their big contracts out and stuff, they do potentially they could potentially clear out some cap space to go after one of these guys. Except that I just don't think any of those teams will let those guys walk if an offer sheet does happen. Heading into retirements, we had a big one today. Cam Ward retired after 13 seasons in the NHL, 12 of those with the Carolina Hurricanes. He did sign a 1-day contract with the Hurricanes, so he could retire with the team that drafted him. He was sort of one of those goalies that was like, he was a number 1 goalie, but he never had like that top tier level to him. But his rookie year, he led the Hurricanes to the Stanley Cup and won the Conn Smythe in 2006. He also won a gold medal at the 2007 World Championships for Canada. But yeah, he had 334 wins in 701 games. But yeah, just congrats on a great career. And another goalie, Mike McKenna, retired also, journeyman AHL goalie. I was actually looking at his AHL number. He played 477 games in the American Hockey League. He had 231 wins, and he made the Calder Cup championship finals twice. Didn't win, but yeah, he never got the success in the NHL. We know last year, I think he bounced around like 3 or 4 teams, something like that. But yeah, it was just one of those things with the family that he has off the ice. It is just a lot of stress, having to move around all that time with your family being that far away all that time. So. Best of luck for both of those guys in their futures. But yeah, but I think Mike McKenna, he also has a podcast as well that he runs and stuff. So he's got some stuff set up off the ice.
Sportsnet here in Canada letting go or mutually parting ways with both Nick Kyprios and Doug McLean today. Do you think they're going to be replaced by other people, or are they just cutting back salary?
Yeah, it is interesting because ever since Sportsnet got the rights for the NHL broadcasting, They've sort of been trying their own thing. They have moved a bunch of veteran broadcasters and analysts out beforehand. So it's like I'm not totally surprised, but it's like I saw a guy comment on our post. Like it is a bit odd that that it happened this close to the start of the season that they announced this.
Maybe their contract ends at the end of August, though. That's what I'm thinking. Is kind of September 1 starts the next contract. So.
Yeah, because I think Doug McLean worked 10 years with Sportsnet, and Kiprios actually helped launch the network, and he worked there for I think around like 21 years.
Yeah.
There, so yeah, so both heavy veterans in the media, but I'll still expect they'll land somewhere or something like that. But yeah, it is shocking, and with Sportsnet, like we saw, like they replaced Ron McLean for a little bit there doing with Dave Amber and what's his name, George Stropolopoulos or whatever before that. But yeah, they sort of try to do their own thing. Like I'm not a big Sportsnet fan when it comes to their analysts and stuff. I like TSN more than that. So, but yeah, it is shocking that they did it so close to the season.
Bring back the sports page.
That's before
any Vancouverite knows what I'm talking about right now. Ewan with the page at Christmas time, the 11 o'clock highlights every night. Those were the days. Final words, Matt, before we wrap up today's show.
I was just gonna say I miss Don Taylor's pre and post game stuff for the Canucks. That was because now there's barely anything that Sportsnet does for when the Canucks play on their game. There's barely any pregame or postgame stuff. But yeah, just a couple injuries to update you on. Matt Hunwick is going to miss the entire season with the Buffalo Sabres with a neck condition. He's been dealing with that over the past couple seasons. He only played 14 games last year. And also Tyler Pitlick with the Philadelphia Flyers will be out 4 weeks after wrist surgery. And just a couple updates on some of the RFAs. Mikko Rantanen is skating in Norway. So between that and Marner that we mentioned last week,
that's okay though, because I know a lot of NHL players, even under contractors, they're all skating with teams right now. I saw David Pasternak skating in Sweden. Even Troy Stetcher was just at the University of North Dakota skating with them. Michael Furlan skating locally here in Langley with the Junior A team, whatever they're called nowadays, as they're always changing. I think it's still the Rivermen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe not. No, I think the Rivermen. They're the Rivermen. I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the Rivermen right now.
Thunder, Rivermen. I think the Trappers are the Junior B team. But yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, otherwise, Jason Palmville is still waiting for an NHL contract, but he says if nothing pops up, he's going to be okay with that. I still think he can still produce in a third line role. He still had 16 goals last year, so it's not. He still has some gas left in the tank.
Wasn't Louis Eriksson?
Yeah. Connor McDavid, he's sort of vague about where he was in his rehab, but he says he's aiming for training camp, and hopefully he'll be. I think he should be good to go for the start of the regular season. And also some contract talks. Ottawa is looking for talking an extension with Thomas Chabot, while the Washington Capitals have opened up with talks with Braden Holtby and Nicholas Backstrom, who both have 1 year left on their contracts. And just looking at their cap hits right now, Holtby's only making, or as a cap hit, at $6.1 million, and Backstrom 6.7. Both of those guys are going to be wanting somewhere in the $8-9+ million a year, and they deserve to get paid that money. So it could be an end of an era, maybe after the end of this season, because the Caps are already up against the cap to start this season, and I don't think they have many guys coming off the books. So that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, that's about all the news for this week. And as we mentioned at the start of the show, we have all our season previews and depth charts for every single team. We've gone all the way from Anaheim to the New York Rangers so far. Tomorrow we got the Ottawa Senators, and Friday we'll have the Philadelphia Flyers and then we'll kick in next week from Pittsburgh on down on the Monday as we go into the last long weekend coming up here before the fall kicks in. But that's also good news because we know hockey season is just around the corner. It's like I'm really itching myself to get back on the ice, and as a Vancouver fan, there isn't a whole lot of optimism with some of our other sports teams. I just can't wait for the Canucks to come back. So, but yeah, we're so close to training camp starting up. We're just around the corner coming up here.
I know hockey season's only about a week and a half away for you and I to start. So yeah, it's right around the corner. I love this time of year. As hockey season's about to start, baseball playoffs are about to start. You know, it's my second favorite time of the year because the NHL playoffs are my favorite time of the year for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But thanks guys for listening. Remember to hit that like button, share our content, and you'll be eligible to win a prize at the end of the month of September. More news of that will be coming out soon. Anyways, thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you guys all next week on B&B Hockey Talk.